Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the TBScouts Talking Head Show. I'm your host Boris,
Eric Talley.
and I have another action-packed episode for you guys. Bringing on another outstanding high school coach here in the area. Tally, I'll go ahead and let you introduce our guest.
Appreciate it. Coming all the way. Now, I can really use this word all the way because you guys are south of San Antonio. And then at the same time, when I drive down coming from Cibolo, man, it feels like I got to pack a lunch. So coming all the way from South San Antonio, the head coach of the boys basketball team of Southwest Legacy, Coach Abbott. How you doing, Coach?
Good. How you guys doing?
Oh man, we're doing great, doing great. So we always kick all of our interviews with just throwing it right to you, going right into it, and just asking you about your bio. Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm originally from Oklahoma. Played basketball, football, baseball over there. As a matter of fact, I actually signed to play football in college at a small school in Kansas, and during the summer playing pickup basketball, I actually fractured my ankle before two-a-days and decided just to go to the University of Central Oklahoma, where I'm a graduate from. Um, Never ever thought about ever being a teacher or a coach in my entire life because I was like, I don't want to coach me, And our college coach said, he's like, they're paying at the middle school. We have lay coaches in Oklahoma where you might be working another job, just like TAPS is here, where a coach is like in the business. In the public school, they have lay coaches because it's a serious teacher shortage up there and coach shortage. And he was like, they're paying at the time. I think the minimum wage was 5.15, 5.15 an hour, $20 a day. He's just like they pay $20 a day. You coach them, you practice them for a little bit, and so I went and did it. And my first team was a bunch of seventh grade boys, and I got one of my good friends to coach with me and be my assistant coach. So he coached the seventh grade B team, and I coached the A team, and I had a blast. And I had no clue what I was doing. But uh, uh, you know, so that started my coaching career. And I still wasn't very serious about it. I was just like, this is a $300 a month. They're sending me a 300 after they took taxes out. That thing was about $300. I was like, this is great per diem money. And so then a parent approached me and was just like, hey, have you ever thought about doing an AAU team? And I I was like, nah, no. And then I started coaching AAU basketball. Then I'm a journalism major. I couldn't change my major because I was so deep into it. But they said I could go get alternatively certified, and that's started my coaching career. I've been in every single level of basketball from 1A to 6A basketball, large school basketball. I was a 2A head coach, 3A head coach, 4A head coach, 5A head coach, 6A assistant coach. So I've been at every single level, and so I was head coach in Dallas. Um, I was a head. That was my first head coaching job because I moved here from Oklahoma. I was a head coach in Oklahoma, and then moved here to be an assistant coach in Texas once I found out that they were paying a little bit better. And then I was an assistant coach in Houston, then became a head coach in Dallas. I took a team to a playoffs that literally one of my best friends said, if you take them to the playoffs, you deserve to be coach of the year. And we actually qualified for the playoffs in a district where we had three ranked teams. The teams were South Oak Cliff, Dallas Kimball, and Dallas Carter. And we were the fourth seed. And that team, I loved that team. That was a really good team, really talented team. Uh, and mostly Hispanic school in Dallas and in Oak Cliff, in Oak Cliff, Dallas. I know we associate Oak Cliff, Dallas with, a bunch of black kids, but, most of the schools, like even Kimball, Carter, and SOC, they're mostly Hispanic. And so that team is mostly Hispanic, and we just found a way to get into the playoffs. We lost to Dallas Lincoln in the first round. So then I went to a 4A school.
Wait, did you get coach of the year?
I finished as a semifinalist and as a TABC Coach of the Year. So I didn't. I didn't get it, and I'm still bitter to this day. They went to the playoffs, and then then I went to a small like kind of suburban / urban school. We went to the playoffs there, and then I was at a 5A job in Dallas. We went to the playoffs there at Arlington Seguin, and the suburban urban school is called Alvarado. So I would compare Alvarado to what I'm trying to think of a school, kind of like Canyon Lake, where it's detached from the city but still associated with the city. And so then um, then now here in San Antonio at Southwest Legacy. And so last year was our first year that we qualified for the playoffs. And so I've formed a lot of connections along the way. I've formed a lot of relationships with coaches along the way. I kid a lot. I mess with coaches a lot, because in Dallas, we kind of joke with each other all the time, like, man, you guys aren't any good. We will come over there and kick your ass, and just, and so I mess with coaches here. And so I think after about 2 or 3 years, they just realized that's kind of my personality and I'm not really a jerk. And so, uh, but do all in all, between AAU and high school basketball, I've gotten to coach over 30 college players. And so, I've been teaching for 17 years, coaching for 20. There's guys that are 29 years old that like call me coach. And so it's a really crazy thing, when I think about it, that someone who's 30 with 2 kids calls me coach went and played. He's went and played, had a career, played overseas, and that guy's like, man, that's my guy, And so it's just those type of relationships and bonds that you get that I love about basketball. And so I'm sorry if that took too long, but
No, that was
it
great.
didn't. That was good. That was good. Let me back up a little bit. You said Southwest Legacy's only been it's the first time. Last year was the first time you went to the playoffs, correct?
yes, sir.
And you guys are 5A or 6A?
5A.
5A. And then you guys, as far as talking about the school, started 2018-19, if I'm correct? That was the
I
first
wasn't the
year?
first head coach. There was another head coach before I was hired. I think this will be my 5th year,
Okay.
but it's been open 6 years.
Okay, that's what it was. Okay, yeah, because I looked up the history of you guys, and as far as off of Max Prep, and they just had you guys as far as your first season, 2018-19 as a record, and so that's why I was asking that question. So I knew you are the newer school there of the Southwest. They got Southwest High School, and then they have Southwest Legacy, and I know you were the newer school. So and then in that conversation we had when we first started talking, you kind of explained it to me and broke it down. Can you kind of do that for our audience, just to kind of let them know the difference of Southwest and Southwest Legacy, why and how did you guys come about, or can you kind of elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, I think it's because Southwest kind of got overcrowded, and being in 6A basketball is kind of tough because 6A basketball, 6A athletics, it's really tough, and I think that there was a need to open up a new school. I don't know if this is fact or fiction. I just feel like that's what it is. There was a need to open up a new school. So they split the original high school. And you know how at Northside, when Sotomayor just opened up, like regardless if you were a starter at Harlan or whatever, you had to go to Sotomayor, right? Or find somewhere. That's why the good guard had to go to Antonian. Well, in our circumstance, they let the players stay if they chose to stay, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want to pause you for a second. You said something interesting. If a new school opens up, they want to like force players to go over there.
Yes. Sotomayor, like they had to, like if you were districted or your line say you were a Sotomayor, whether you were like a starter at Harlan or not, you had to go there. And it's
You mean
happened.
based on like where the geographical line was?
Yes.
Okay, it wasn't like strictly because the new school opened up. All the varsity athletes have to go over there.
Well, like some of them, like if you were a district, your line said Harlan, you would stay at Harlan. But if you were one, because I think it took from O'Connor and Harlan, but like if you were on O'Connor, you had to go over there. I mean, I'm pretty sure there were some kids that had the opportunity to stay, but one of the kids I was like that was I think is he's at Antonian now, and he goes to the same gym I go to, and he was like, yeah, I had to go to Sotomayor or I couldn't play. Um, or I had to like sit 365 or something. And so in our instance, they didn't do that. In the north side, it makes sense because you don't want kids, staying. And when you're opening up a brand new high school and you're trying to have competitive balance within the district. So it makes complete sense. Like when Harlan opened the same thing happened to Taft, right? So they lost some kids that normally would have played at Taft, and so it happens in Dallas and Frisco. They open up a school like every other year. I know a guy in Frisco that lost a top 150 player in the country. He had to go to the other Frisco school that opened. This guy's a top 150 player in the country. He's about to be a junior, plays for Pro Skills in Dallas. Now he plays for Prestonwood because he didn't want to go to the new Frisco school. So he's in TAPS now.
That's tough. That's tough.
And real quick, since we're on the topic of Southwest High School, in comparison to Southwest Legacy, where you're at, because I know the coaches, Coach Joey, and I forget the head coach name,
Coach Stewart.
And Coach Stewart.
So, and I've been to that gym several times, probably a couple of seasons ago, because there's a couple of players that I was following over at Southwest High School, and I really like their gym. It's like multi-level. They get the courts down, like on the ground, and the seating's kind of like stadium style. Is your guys' gym like that, or do you have a facility like that?
Traditional, field house feel. So it's not like down. There's, like theirs is what we call like a theater, like Tarleton State. It's like a theater seating, because so it's ours is your traditional two-sided field house. And so where the visitor side is a little shorter than the home side, but it's a beautiful gym. It's a really nice gym. So but ours is a two-style traditional field house.
Cool. And I haven't been to your gym yet. I know maybe one of these days there'll be some type of event or something going on, or a game that I'll. Where do you guys play your games at? You play it there, your home games?
At our gym. So I
Okay.
mean, we have a pretty good tournament coming up on December 1st through 3rd. We have Dallas Carter coming, McAllen, Harlingen South, Pflugerville, Connolly. Those are some of the out of town teams coming to our tournament. So
Well,
we
Coach, you did a great job with that one tournament that we came to, that you threw, that Cole had a chance to play in. I believe yourself. Yes, that was a great job you guys did up there, and that's where I met you, and I saw you guys play a little bit, but I didn't know. Again, we're going to get into that as far as you got a good group. But anyway, we'll get into that.
I'm gonna pause you again one more. Man, just so many nuggets just come out of this. You said December 1st through 3rd. That's an event that you guys are hosting?
Yeah, Southwest ISD Invitational.
Southwest ISD Invitational. December. And can you just talk a little bit about, now the season's gonna be in session during that time, right?
Yes, yeah. So it's just a tournament, preseason tournament that that we're hosting. And like I said, we have some a pretty good field. I think from San Antonio, Bernie's there, Jay, Lanier, uh, Stevens. Then we have us, obviously Southwest and Southwest Legacy, and then we have Del Rio's coming. Then Dallas Carter, Harlingen South, McAllen, and Pflugerville Connolly.
That's a good event. I was asking you.
Lytle's in it. Lytle was in it too. I'm just trying to get it's a 12-team tournament though.
You said Del Rio, Coach. We just had Coach Joe on the show last episode.
Yep, Coach
That's
Nieto.
that's a great group right there. That Del Rio team. That's gonna be fun. I'm gonna definitely have to make sure we're there. As long as Cole's off, I definitely can be there. Cole and Steele, but if they're playing, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to miss that one.
Yeah, and I'm gonna help promote that event. That's why I was asking you for the dates and stuff, because I think we want to do a better job of promoting local basketball, and events like that, and just helping to get information out there so that the fans can go watch players, and just kind of everybody knows what's going on. So if there's actually like a good high school, oh yeah, if you have a flyer too, send that to us eventually. But just want to support the community, man, and just do a better job. And that's what we want to use our platform for. Even our show, learning about coaching history, but also if they have something that can help support the school, support the program, support the players, like let's get it out there. So I wrote down some notes for that.
We would love to have some media coverage at our events. And like I said, we have a very strong competitive field. Like we're going to play Dallas Carter in one of the pool play games. So they're in our pool. So we hope to have we want to I want they're predicted to compete for state and they're going to be a top 5 team in 4A coming out, so, and then Lytle's going to be a really good 3A team. They have a really good player over there. And I think every team that's in our tournament has a really good player, and so I think that it's going to be a pretty good tournament.
Nice. I'll try to stop by.
And then before we end the air, just give at the end, give a quick promo of it, Coach. Just kind of talk about it a little bit. But again, we'll get there. We'll get there. But I'm just giving you a heads up about it, like if you can.
And we'll let you give a promo at the end.
So let's switch gears. Let's talk about our run last year. We played Jefferson, and like you said, it was the first time you guys making the playoffs. So kudos to you and what you're doing over there in your group of boys you have. So coming into that, making the playoffs, how was the feel? How was the atmosphere? What were we looking forward to do as far as, of course, win? But how were you game planning to make sure you take out Jefferson?
Well, we didn't win, but Jefferson was a really good group. I told Coach, I said, man, you got to watch us play twice. You got a little bit of they're kind of offset because they play those satellite campuses, and so he got to watch us play in person. And I was like, you got to watch exactly how we attack, and so they did a good job. But you could tell that the boys were just like it was a big moment for them, and it was a really big moment for them, and the composure. Being composed, they struggled with it a little bit, but for our guys that are coming back, it was a great learning tool. It was a great learning tool because now they kind of understand what it takes. And we've been playing in these shootouts, and we've been playing some really good competition, and the physicality that's in 6A basketball, we're trying to bring it to 5A basketball in our part of the city. And so we just we look like right now, we look like a 6A, a pretty good 6A team, the way we're approaching. And so we learned a lot about that in the playoffs, and Jefferson's is a hard, tough-nosed, well-coached team. And so we just, it was my first time with these guys. And getting them prepared, I'll probably be a little bit more rigid, next time. But I feel like that group did about as well as you could do with a group. We had two of our key players were football players, and as you know, with the COVID year, football ran deep into basketball. So those two guys' junior year was kind of a wash, because it ran so deep. But as seniors, they came in and, like we've been on the cusp, you know, last couple of years. We just now we're fitting into our talent when we got direct feeders, when those guys, our 23 class are what we call our direct feeder class, because those are our kids, always been our kids type deal. Does that make
Right.
sense? That class is really special for us. And so having them have that experience in the playoffs and taking that into this season is, it is paramount. It is great. So we're very excited about this season coming up. And last season, our kids felt like we made the playoffs, like we've mission accomplished. No, win a game. And so now they're in that mentality. So
Well, we got a chance to play you guys this summer and going to the fall. So I think you have a really, really talented group, and I think you have what you need to really go far this year. So I'll definitely be watching you. So let's talk about our upcoming as far as our schedule. I know you mentioned the first and third preseason. How do we look as far as the schedule to prepare us for our district and also the playoffs?
we start out with Duke, North Carolina, and Kansas right off the bat. Or no, so our first four games. We'll start with the scrimmages.
Okay.
We're slated to go to Dallas and compete in the scrimmage. We're one of three San Antonio teams to do that. Us, and Brennan, and Wagner. So we got that. Then we open up with Bernie, state tournament appearance. Then we open out with our next game's against Bernie Champion, state championship appearance. Then we play in the Northside ISD tournament. Then we get Harlan in there, and then they gave us the schedule, so we're slated to play Harlan, and we're in Johnson. So I feel like those first four games are about as tough as games for us as you could get, and then I think after that tournament we play Piper during the Thanksgiving break, and Bandera. Then we have our tournament, and we open up with Carter in our tournament. So then we go take a week off and we go to Midland. So we're going to play Permian, Odessa Permian, Midland Legacy, Midland High, a couple of schools out there. And then we play Del Rio, we play Pleasanton. So we have a very high competitive preseason schedule that I feel like going into district, we're going to know what type of team we are pretty early.
That's a tough schedule. Hey, Coach, you really listen. You boys better be ready. You laid it on them. You made sure that they know you're building a real legacy at Southwest Legacy there, because right now that's a tough schedule for anybody. That's a tough schedule for a 6A school. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's big time. So with the load you have right now, let's talk about some of those players that we need to be looking out for. That's carrying the load right now. Let's talk about those guys. So
we are. We coach speak. We don't have a best player. The team's the best player, but we do a really good job of sharing the ball. Really good job. I feel like this year we could have 5 guys in double figures. Now we do have a special player. We do have a special player. He's a really good player. His name's Emmanuel Villapando. He's 6'4", wing and forward. last year, 15-7. Then we have a really good point guard. Then we got some cats that can shoot the leather out of that thing.
Thanks.
We got some cats that can shoot the leather out of that thing. And then we have a really good sophomore, and he can shoot the leather out of that thing. He's just, about 6'2", 6'3". He's just a bigger kid. He's real mobile. His brother was one of my favorite players. So he's been around the program since he was in fifth, sixth grade. So we can really shoot the basketball 1 through 5. Everyone has the ability to shoot over 35% from 3, with the exception of one player. So we're going to look like the Golden State Warriors out there,
Splash Brothers.
It names everyone Splash.
Splash family.
Splash family, so everyone can shoot it, yesterday was on display. Like, I think at one point in the game, we were playing Katie, and at one point in the game, I think I looked up and I was like, man, the last 7 shots that went in were all threes, and 5 different people shot them. And so we can shoot, which is good. So when we do catch a lead and we catch a little fire, we can extend the lead, but it also helps because we're never out of games because we can really shoot. So
Nice. Yeah, I'm looking at some of the rosters that were printed from yesterday's event. Special shout out to the Gasso providing us with those rosters. But so I'm looking at your roster right now. I do see your the player you mentioned, Emmanuel, at 6'4", Anthony Rosas at 6'3", Giovanni at 6'2", Hector at 6'1". Yeah, so yeah, I mean, it's good. That's one of the reasons why I kind of like these rosters, is because I don't really, at this point right now, I might have seen some of your players in the gym, but I can't really pin a face to any of these names yet. But at least I got something to start with. So, now that we're talking and looking forward to seeing you guys play, maybe I will get a chance to learn more about Emmanuel or Isaiah or Hector or Giovanni or Anthony, any of those players. So, helpful tool. Looking forward to seeing what those players have to offer. And we didn't really talk that much yet about yesterday.
Yes, I was just about to lead up to that part about the gas. I see you went 1-1. How did you play? How did they play overall? 1-1. I know
they played really good.
I know it's fall ball, so I know we're not talking about records. But again, I got a chance to play against you guys.
Good team. Taft is. I felt like Taft was a really good game. For us. It woke us up, and then we kind of rolled over on rolled Katie. But I feel like like I said, Taft's a playoff team, so they probably should have won their first round game against Nixon last year. I think they won by 1, and they were the 4 seed, and Nixon was the district champ. So Taft's a really good team, really good team. I fully expect them to probably make the playoffs again. The deal is, the reason you probably haven't heard about our players is our players aren't really they're not really out there in AAU basketball like that. Does that make sense? We're on a poor side of town, and let me not say poor. I hate that word. We're just not as affluent. Our priorities are a little different. It wouldn't make sense for some of our kids to invest $1,000, into a spring and summer. Like Emmanuel, he goes to Mexico in the summer and works. But I tell people out this, Emmanuel's as good as anybody in the city. As far as basketball, just being able to dribble, shoot, play off 2 feet, fundamentally sound. He's an incredible player. I have a kid at Fort Hayes, a kid at West Texas, a kid at Cameron University. He's just as good as them. So it's just not a really big priority. So what we have done in the past, but COVID kind of messed that up. We circumvented by just having our kids play as a team together, and they play in Gasso here, Gasso there. Uh, the only problem was just kind of getting a coach, because for NCAA certified, I mean, you have to have a certified coach and things like that. And so that's what we were going to transition to. Then COVID hit. And so now we're just kind of scrambling. And this is like the first year it's really felt like normal again. If that makes any sense. Even last year, it's kind of like, but this year was the first year it felt normal again. And so with this, after this 2023 group kind of cycles out, we're going to go back with our freshmen right now and redo that thing again. So where it's like, okay, you guys are a group. Here's the parent that coaches them. Just run what we run in practice. When you go play AAU basketball, somebody on the staff will be there to watch, and go ahead and do that, and develop yourself in competition.
There's a couple of things that I want to mention. First off, if there's any aspiring coaches out there or people that want to help out and give back to the community, and if you're interested in coaching a group of boys, high school boys, maybe for the summer or grassroots season, go holler at coach. And, maybe you can meet somebody, and I'll let you do your thing, but I want to throw that out there to the community. If you need somebody to help you coach your boys or coach that team, and all you need is somebody, Tally and I are surrounded by so many basketball people that would love the opportunity to just coach a group, especially if they're helping out a local high school. So if that sounds like you, reach out to Coach Abbott and see if y'all can work something out. Not saying it's a guarantee, because there might be 5 good people that want to coach. So it's up to Coach to select who he thinks is going to take the best care of his kids.
If you can get NCAA certified, come on.
Yeah, get that gold certification or whatever it's called.
Say basketball.
Yeah, let's go. My second question, now I have another one that just popped up. Those kids do any of the players on your roster right now, do they have dreams of playing college basketball?
Yes, they do.
Okay. So now I'm going to ask you the hard question. What advice would you give to somebody who, let's say that they do have dreams and aspirations of playing college basketball, but they may not have the resources to play grassroots or AAU basketball, which significantly cuts out on your exposure to be seen? What advice would you give to players and families that want to play college basketball but may not have the ability to play AAU basketball to help with their recruitment?
You got to do a lot of reaching out yourself, where you're going in, looking at that coach's email address, sending your information. You got to do it a lot, a lot yourself, because to be honest, I tell people all the time, man, all you need is one. You just need one to reach back and say, hey, I'm interested. Send me more. You just need one. Now, that one might not be Texas State or North Texas, but you got to be okay with that one who does reach back, because you only need one. You only need one to say yes. The way I circumvent that a little bit is I'm an NABC member, National Association of Basketball Coaches, which means at the Final Four, I can attend the NABC clinic. And you can attend it if you're not even an NABC member. You just pay they just tax you. So at the Final Four, I attended, and it's so powerful that this guy has a face. to be able to, instead of emailing like, hey, what do you need, coach? What do you need? What do you need? What do you need? What financial packages can you offer? I'm right there. I'm right there. Hey, this is the coach at Hartford, or this is the coach here, or coach at A&M Commerce. Coach, I got a kid. He just needs an opportunity. Oh, we're full. Public University of Texas. Can he walk on? Can I bring him to work out? Just give my kid a chance. If you don't like him, cool. Yeah, bring him to work out. Just give my kid a chance. You know, he'll pay his own way that first year, but my kid's good enough to play. Bring him to work out. All right. We might take him as a walk on. Well, there's an opportunity. You might have to pay your way, but you have an opportunity to play basketball, you know? And then if he is really good, oh, coach, I remember when y'all played such and such. Is that number what? Yeah, that's him. Come on, coach, we got to talk. Come over here. We're going to talk over here real quick for a little bit. And so that happens so many times. Coach, tell me about such and such. Tell me about such and such. And then at the same time, I'm completely honest with the coach. If I'm not going to push a kid that I know can't play for that particular coach in that particular conference, you know, it has to be very unique, you know, a very unique situation, because all you need is one. And from one usually comes many. And my kids are one of those kids. They're the kids, hey man, whoever reaches out first, they have priority. You know, they have priority. I know what you want to do, but that's the dude who really wanted you. That's who really wanted you. And you want to go where somebody really wants you. Because not because someone takes you, because they missed out on the guys they wanted. So you gotta, whether it's Division One, I know Division One, whatever's coming, but that's the guy that really wanted you at UTD. That's the guy that really wanted you at Texas Lutheran. Now, financially, if it doesn't make sense, then obviously you go to the next thing. But you be honest, I can't spend that much money, you know, when I can go to Palo Alto for free. So I might not be able to play basketball, you know? And so you just, but you know, me being at the Final Four, being able to actually just, hey coach, what do you need? I need this right now. Because in March, they're scrambling if they need something. They're scrambling, especially at the sometimes at the lower level, because they know, you know, they might not be able to get a Division II really good transfer or whatever. So they're scrambling to compete. They're like, you know, it's just like anybody would be like in March, like crap, summer classes are about to start in 2 months. And we have 3 roster spots that are filled. And we're not quite sure who's going to fill them. But we need these 3 players. And so, and if you do send a good player, even if, you know, your player might not be good enough, I'm like, coach, he needs 2 years. Well, coach, we just need a player. Doesn't matter if he needs 2 years or not. All right. Now, this is his number, coach. Call him. So.
Cool. That's good to hear that you're out there working for your players like that, making connections. And I think a lot of, you know, college recruiting and all of that is based on connections, being in the right place at the right time, seeing how you can add value to somebody else's roster, and passing those names along. So, good answer. Thanks.
Real quick, Coach, let's switch gears a little bit and talk about something we were talking about prior to we started actually recording. In reference, you said something that was kind of powerful, and again, it being in the like I said earlier in reference to us talking about the coaching fraternity. That's what I believe it is. You really believe in allowing your assistant coaches opportunities, and so can you kind of elaborate on like how would you encourage a younger coach, being like a middle school coach, to do what he needs to do to follow his dreams to being a head coach at a high school or even collegiate level?
I started out as a middle school coach. And so one of the most powerful things I ever did, and I'm not sure what the process would look like here in Texas, but I worked this thing called Cage Camp in Oklahoma, which is basically all the high school coaches would come and and uh, and I would work Cage Camp, and they would get to see me coach like middle school level kids or high school level kids, and they'd like, hey man, I need an assistant. Can you do that? And so if I was a middle school coach right now, I would probably just go to my high school coach, like, coach, I really want to help out with camp. Can I help out with camp? Can I come help out with camp and do camp with you, do camp for you? If I'm a middle school coach, I'm making sure that I'm making sure that all my team is at basketball camp, at basketball camp. I'm going to approach people. I'm one of those people, if I feel like I want something, I'm gonna go get it. I'm gonna approach you, because the worst thing I can hear is no, and that's not gonna kill me. So, it might disappoint me, but understand, just like a scholarship, I only need one to say yes. So I only need one to say yes. And that's the one. And so that's how I would go to my high school, the high school that feeds my coach. I want to work camp, coach. You make sure I'm working camp. So that coach gets to see me. And then that coach, and I tell that coach, I'm really trying to be this. I'm certified in this, and this. If you know anyone looking for something, just tell them this. Like my assistant coach, was my freshman coach. I got a call from Coach Romine at San Antonio Madison. And he told me, he said, I have a former player. He's not yet certified. He's probably a month out, but we couldn't find a role for him here to where he could coach and teach. And they don't want to take someone not quite certified yet, and I see that you have a math job. Do you think it'll hurt? Coach, all right, let me interview him. And I interviewed him, and he was about as green as could be. And so, but he's going to be a great head coach one day. He's going to be a great head coach that day. He was, how did he say? He kept calling me man. Yeah, man. Yeah. And I was like, hey man, don't do that anymore. And so he's going to be a great head coach one day. But stuff like that happens. That's how you become a head coach. He went from not even coaching to coaching, just because his head coach had a relationship with me. And since I trusted him as a head coach, I have a relationship with him. No problem. Because my deal is, I can take a coach who's never coached before, that's willing to work, because my whole deal is, I'm going to teach you how to be a head coach.
Good stuff. You mentioned that you did AAU basketball before, as far as you started out as AAU. Well, you didn't start out, but you did AAU coaching. What advice would you give the AAU community, just to say, hey, to bridge the gap or work better, or just what would you give the advice for any AAU coaches that, because I think we're doing a really good job right now with our AAU going into our high school, and you're seeing it from the players all the high school they're having right now. And it's, I think that AAU is very important. Again, high school's, the importance, but at the same time, AAU is just as important. So what kind of advice could you give these guys as far as to help promote your program, or help get you better players, or keep your players being developed and improving?
I would tell guys, more skills and drills, less team stuff. AAU is meant to be a developmental tool at the same time as a showcase tool. But like, I don't care what damn offense you running, because in college, they're not assessing them like, oh, we need him to run high low. So we shouldn't spend 45 minutes of this hour and a half on high low. We should spend 15 minutes on it. You know, we should just put them in less plays, more rules. You know, that's how I've always coached it. It's like, you know, when I did AAU, I said, man, when you come to our AAU practice, it's 60 minutes of just skills and drills that are applicable in a game. You know, we have build up drills and everything, 60 minutes of skills and drills, 30 minutes worth of team. Well, really 25 minutes worth of team, and then 5 minutes worth of specials like sideline, baseline, stuff like that. And so we're spending an hour every week doing skills and drills, trying to get these dudes better because they're going to play different. For me, they're going to play different for me than they will play in their high school spring league. And then they're going to play different from their high school spring league than they'll play for me. Well, what's the best thing that benefits both parties? Well, his ability to make a live ball move, his ability to handle, his ability to catch and shoot, his ability to shoot it off the dribble, his ability to read screen and rolls, his ability to read screens. That's 6 things. That's 6 things. So how about we just spend 10 minutes doing these 6 things? His ability to defend, that's 7. We'll spend 10 minutes doing, or 8 minutes doing these 7 things. We'll have a defensive station where they're defending, and we have a team station of defense. And then we just work on ball handling. We'll work on catching, shooting off the dribble, screen and roll reads, down screen, flare screen reads. We're good. We've covered everything that they need to know in basketball. Then we'll come together and we'll give them about 15 minutes worth of team against each other. And then we'll do baseline, sideline, out of bounds. There's no sense. Why are we, when I go to, hey, man, we're going to line up and run. That makes no damn sense. Why would you spend 5 minutes running? That's the high school coach's job. That's strength and conditioning is for. You know, that makes no sense. Why are they running at any time in practice? Just get the next one in and get that dude out and get the next one in. You know, that makes no sense. We shouldn't spend line up, shoot free throws and run off free throws, pressure free throws. That doesn't make sense. How about we spend 5 minutes working on free throws instead of one person shooting a free throw and 9 other people watching? You know, and so that's my philosophical belief about AAU basketball, is that it's there to give them exposure and to give them further development, more specialized development. Does that make sense? It's more specialized because I have 30 guys in my program. It's kind of hard. If I just had 10 in my program, those 10 are getting all the attention of me and my assistant coach. But we have 3 coaches, 30 guys in our program that all play different positions. And I tell guys like, man, you need a staff of like 3 people, someone to work with post players, somebody to work with wings, somebody to work with point guards, and that you're comfortable with. And then y'all have to have a philosophical idea. Like me, since I'm the head coach, I can be like, listen, we're not effing doing that. You hear me, assistant? You know, I never would say that, but we're not doing that. We're doing it like this. But y'all have to have some type of philosophical idea, approach about how basketball is to be played. Do you like to walk it up? Do you like to run it? Well, I like our guys to make their decisions. You know what I'm saying? And that's the deal. Just try to let those guys make their decisions. And your coaching is done more in practice and the skills and drills. And then you call them over like, hey, son, you made a bad read there. All right, fix it, go back in. You know, because in my mind, like these kids are like, if I'm taking $10,000 or $15,000 from parents, to me, my service is to do what they're supposed to do. And I coach AAU different, like, right? Like if I had a pay team, everybody played the same amount of minutes, except the last 5 minutes of the game. And so, because in my mind, I feel like that would be stealing money from someone who's paid me to play their kid. Um, Paid me to play their kid. But I would tell my parents, I'd be like, yo, you paid me this $1,200 or $1,000 and you're gonna play. And I had an AAU coach tell me, like, how does that work? Like, how did that work? Like, you paid, like, how were you successful? I was like, well, to be honest, they didn't, no coach that evaluated my kid ever asked us what our record was.
Thanks.
They never asked us what our record was. Fortunately, but they did ask about the kid. And so they never asked me what my record was. So, well, we're trying to get on the big court. We're trying to get on the big court. Well, man, if you're doing that fundamental stuff, your kids should be getting better. Your kids should be getting better. So those kids that you feel like that can't compete, my question is, why do y'all have them on the team? Take them off the team. And so take them off the team. Yeah, it might hurt your pockets, but well, who are you doing this for? And I'm of the belief AAU coaches shouldn't be paying for stuff out of their own pocket. So before I moved here, I had a team of 10 players. Every single player signed to play college basketball. 10 players. And they were like, well, how did that happen? I was like, well, same deal. We scripted the rotation up until the final 5 minutes of the game. And we went with the best 5 that we felt was playing during that game at that point. And, foul trouble adjustments and stuff like that in the last 5 minutes. I said, but the deal is, the one thing that I always, before I started AAU basketball, is make it make sense. Why are we putting people who can't play college basketball on this team? Make it make sense, fellas. If we're not walking in there 6'7", 6'7", 6'8", and people like, well, how do we get those dudes? They're going to shoot teams. They're going to shoot teams. I was like, well, then you got to get someone who's 6'7", 6'8", 6'9". He might not be able to tie his shoes right now. Luckily for me, I had relationships with these kids' parents and things like that. So we walked in there. Last time I coached the AAU team, no shoe contract. Every single player paid $1,400. We walked into the gym, 6'2", 6'4", 6'7", 6'9", 6'9". Every single player paid. And the deal is, I told those parents, I said, only pay half of it. Only pay me half of it up until the first 2 live periods. And okay, all right, why? Well, after those first 2 live periods, you're going to willingly give me the rest of it. Because I went to the Final Four. I talked to those coaches. We're in this tournament. What's your number, coach? I got a group. So the first time we played in a live period tournament, and luckily for me, I have relationship with tournament directors. Like Emmanuel, had he not gone to Mexico this summer, he was going to be able to go to Pango's West Coast camp, which is the B camp of Pango's. Just because I can call Dinos and be like, I got a player. Can he come to the camp? He said, yeah, you can come to the camp. He went to Mexico. He's like, it's all good, coach. But next time you got a player, let me know. And so I have these relationships with people. So whenever you're starting an AAU group, it has to make sense. It has to make sense. You have to have guards that are good enough to play next level, whether it's D3, NAI, whatever. They don't have to be Division I guards. You have to have a big. You can't have a dude 6'3" guarding someone 6'6", 6'7". That just can't happen. You have to have bigs, no matter what they look like. You just got to have them. But if you're not quite sure and you want to do this, well, man, go into these middle school games. Man, go out to Marion. Go out to Canyon Lake. Go out to Comfort. Go get somebody no one's seen and say, man, this dude is 6'4" in the 7th grade. We're going to develop this dude and make him a good player. Our only deal, parent, is when he does become a really good player, don't leave us. Don't leave us. Don't leave us and go into this other team. We are going to make him a really good player because he makes sense. Just don't leave us. And parents appreciate that. Does that make sense? Before I went to Southwest Legacy, I had a kid that was a 6'8" junior, about to be a senior. Everybody was like, he's okay. He's okay. He's all right. You know, he's in a 2A school in Oklahoma. And nobody knows about him. Right. And then I had a 6'8" kid out in the boonies, stupid athletic, strong, really corn fed, like looked like just like a tight end, but he was a basketball player. And so when I was organizing this AAU team, and I would see like guards and stuff like that, little good guards in these little towns that we were playing. And then I met a head coach that was trying to get something together too. He was a head coach at an inner city school. And he was like, man, I don't want to do it because it don't make sense. And I was like, why doesn't it make sense, coach? Because nobody got bigs. I said, coach, I got bigs. He's like, what? I got bigs. So we did a workout and he came out. He was like, this dude got bigs. They're bigs you ain't never seen, but they're bigs. And so with AAU basketball, the best advice I could give is make it make sense. If you don't think that kid can play college basketball, get his ass off the team and stop wasting his parents' money. And that's where we have all of this dissent and all of this upset. And you start getting a bad name in your mouth because they feel like you cheated them out their money. You know, and you don't want that. You know, you don't want that. So just make it make sense. You know, that's what I would say. Like high school, I have to play Emmanuel as a forward or a 5, but he's a guard. But in AAU basketball, you don't have to. Go find a big. And if you want him to play the big, well, he's not going to play for you. You know, because you're not making it make sense. You're using kids. You're using kids to promote this other kid instead of promoting them all equally. You know what I'm saying? And the way, and I wouldn't even promote them equally. Let me not say that. I'd like, just come watch us play. Come watch us play. Luckily, we're playing Belmont Shores. We're playing some of the best teams. And before I played against Willie Cauley-Stein like 8 times, you know, because at the time Mocan was an independent team just like my team. But I've coached AAU 2 times, and both of those 2 times, every single player is signed because I need it to make sense.
Okay, that's that. Hey, that's it right there. I got anything left?
Nah, good nuggets. I think that's a good note to wrap up on for this episode. Coach, we'll probably have to bring you back again because I feel like I could talk. You know, we could talk to you all day long. But a lot of good nuggets, especially there at the end. You dropped a couple of bombs, but no, I don't have anything else. Thanks for your time, Coach. And Tally, I'll let you go ahead and take us out.
Go ahead and tell us real quick about your tournament on December 1st and 3rd. Go ahead and talk about that a little bit real quick, and then we're going to leave on that note, Coach.
Southwest ISD Invitational, December 1st through 3rd. On the 1st, it's at Legacy. All the games are at Legacy. On the 2nd, all the games are at Southwest High School. And then on the 3rd, all the games are at Legacy. We have a really good field. We want the community to come out and watch some really good basketball. There's teams from the Valley. Like McAllen made it to the regional tournament last year in 5A. Dallas Carter made it in 4A. So Bernie made it to the state tournament. They're in our tournament too, in 4A. So we have 3 teams, that went at least 4 rounds deep in our tournament. And then, like I said, we have Pflugerville Conley, who's made the tournament. Stevens, who looked really good yesterday. We have a very competitive tournament, and it's a chance to showcase San Antonio basketball to some teams that aren't really run from this area, from this region, from this part of the world. That we're serious about our basketball here, and that's the deal that I feel like we need to do a better job here in San Antonio. Is like uh, I coached at a school called Dallas Molina. If Dallas Molina played Dallas Carter, man, we'd look like Little Mexico over there, like drums or whatever. I don't know if you ever saw that documentary about Felipe Lopez and the Dominican people coming out. Like our kids would have like Mexican flags, would be packed and they'd start chanting. It doesn't matter. And the deal is you come to the game, and if you just didn't look at the scoreboard, you would think both these teams are playing. And so that's really where I want to see San Antonio basketball take off. Where I don't even have to look at the scoreboard. I just look at the teams, and they are just playing hard. It's competitive, and just there's a competitive feel nature about it. And so, but the first through the third, good tournament, good field. You're gonna see an upset. You're going to see a team beat a team that it's not supposed to be. And so, in the Southwest Legacy Titans, when they play Dallas Carter, and so it's going to be good.
Okay. Well, with all that being said, again, thank you for the opportunity, Coach, to come in on here. I hope your fantasy football team turns itself around.
Looking good right now.
But again, thank you again for giving us this time right here, Coach, and definitely going to have you on, and definitely going to try to make sure we be out there from the December 1st and the 3rd. And if you allow us to come in your practices, just let us know what's a good time and good date to come out there. We definitely can do that. If you're doing anything special for the school leading up to the December 1st and 3rd, let us know, and we'll definitely try to get out there and support you.
All right, I appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Signing off. Have a good one.